My mother and sister embezzled my savings for a Hawaiian getaway while I juggled 2 jobs to keep us afloat. My name is Sarah, and we were what you might call a typical middle-class family. My dad worked as a senior project manager at a construction firm, while my mom stayed home to care for me and my younger sister, Lily, who was the darling of our family. We lived in a modest house on the outskirts of Columbus, nothing extravagant, but it was our home. "Sarah, sweetheart, you don't need to work while you're in college," Dad would tell me repeatedly during my freshman year. "I make enough to support all of us." But I was determined. Even with my full scholarship covering tuition, I wanted to earn my own money, so I took a part-time job at Thompson's department store, working evenings and weekends around my classes. Everything changed during my sophomore year. It was an ordinary Tuesday in March when I received the call that would turn our lives upside down. I was stocking shelves at Thompson's when my phone buzzed. "Sarah," Mom's voice was barely a whisper, "your father, he had a heart attack at work. They couldn't save him." The fluorescent lights of the store suddenly felt blinding, and the generic pop music playing overhead became distant and muffled. I remember sliding down against the shelf, my knees giving way. At the funeral, Mom put on a brave face. "Don't worry about money, sweetie," she assured me, squeezing my hand. "Your father left us enough to last a few years. You focus on your studies." I believed her. Dad had always been responsible with money, working extra hours and taking on additional projects to ensure our security. He once told me he had a substantial life insurance policy and savings set aside. That spring, I threw myself into my studies and work, trying to cope with the loss. Mom and Lily seemed to be handling it in their own ways, though I noticed they were shopping more than usual. I didn't think much of it at the time. Grief makes people do strange things, right? Then came the phone call that would shatter whatever remained of our normal life. "Sarah," Mom's voice was tense. "You need to come home this weekend. We need to talk." That weekend, I drove home with my stomach in knots. Mom and Lily were waiting in the living room when I arrived. "What's going on?" I asked, dropping my bag by the door. I noticed the living room had new furniture. Dad's old, comfortable armchair was gone. Mom wrung her hands, avoiding my gaze. "Sarah, sweetie, there's something I need to tell you." She took a deep breath. "The money, it's gone. All of it." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What do you mean, gone?" "Dad left us enough for years. How could it all be gone in less than 12 months? Mom started explaining, her voice defensive but somehow proud, as if she were listing achievements. "Lily needed a prom dress, she only gets one prom after all. And then after graduation, she and her friends went to Mexico for 2 weeks." "Mexico?" I interrupted, my voice rising. "With Dad's life insurance money? We needed to save that." Lily jumped in, as if a vacation was as essential as breathing. "It was amazing. And then there was my birthday party. Everyone said it was the best party of the year. And Mom and I joined some really nice social clubs. We were just so sad about your father, honey," Mom added quickly. "We needed to live a little, take our minds off things. You understand, don't you? Life is short. Your father's passing taught us that we need to enjoy ourselves while we can." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The complete disconnect from reality was staggering. Take your minds off things by blowing through Dad's entire life insurance policy? "Mom, you need to distract yourself by getting a job, not by mindlessly spending money on nonsense." Mom gasped, as if I had said something shocking. "Don't you understand?" I continued. "Money doesn't just fall from the sky. Did Dad ever spend money like this?" "No, because he understood its value. He worked hard for every penny, and now it's all gone because you two decided to live a little." Mom's face crumpled, and she clutched her chest dramatically. "Oh, so now you want me to die of a heart attack too, just like your father? Is that what you want? To kill your mother with stress?" I stood there, stunned into silence, while they sat there acting like victims. I noticed the details I had missed at first, the past due notices partially hidden under magazines, the shut-off warning from the electric company on the counter. Walking into the kitchen, I opened cabinets one by one, almost empty. I checked to make sure we'd be okay, wasted in less than a year of reckless spending. Looking at my mother and sister's faces, I saw no real understanding of what they had done, no comprehension of the magnitude of their actions. I realized I had to drop out of school and come home. Someone had to be the adult here, and clearly, it would have to be me. Coming back home felt like moving backward. Within a week, I had landed a job at SuperValue as a cashier. The manager, Mr. Johnson, seemed to understand my situation. "Look, Sarah," he said during my interview, "I can also offer you some merchandising hours after your main shift. It's not glamorous, but it's extra money." I took it without hesitation. My days now started at 7 a.m. behind the register and ended at 10 p.m. stocking shelves. The work was exhausting, but at least it was something. Then came the first time Mom and Lily showed up at my checkout line. Their cart was overflowing with premium brands and out-of-season produce. "Oh good, you're working." Mom beamed, as if she'd just run into me at a party. "We need to stock up the house." I started scanning their items, watching the total climb higher and higher. When it hit $287.43, Mom just smiled and gestured toward me. "Sarah will take care of this," she said cheerfully to the other cashier who had come to help bag. I ended up paying, watching a huge chunk of my day's earnings disappear in a single transaction. But that was just the beginning. The next week, Lily bounced into the store with an announcement. "I'm going vegetarian. It's so much healthier." I thought being vegetarian might actually save us money until I saw her version of a vegetarian diet: organic everything, premium nuts at $15 per pound, fresh berries in winter, exotic vegetables I couldn't even pronounce. Every shopping trip became more expensive than the last. At the end of my first month, I sat down with the receipts spread across the kitchen table. "We spent over $1,200 on groceries this month," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We need to cut back, maybe by buying generic brands or shopping the sales." "I am not compromising my health." Lily interrupted, her voice rising to a shrill pitch. "Do you know how important it is to eat organic? The pesticides in regular produce literally cause cancer. We can eat healthy without spending a fortune." I shouted back. "This isn't some luxury, Sarah. This is my health. Girls, please." Mom cut in, one hand pressed to her chest. "All this arguing, my heart. I can't take it. Do you want me to end up like your father?" Her voice quivered, and I could see the stress etched on her face. I watched this performance with a growing sense of despair. Between the register and the shelves, I was working nearly 15 hours a day, and for what? To fund their latest whims while they refused to even consider looking for work themselves? But every time I tried to bring up budgeting, the response was the same: Lily's outrage and Mom's heart problems. Looking at them now, Mom dabbing at her eyes while Lily glared at me self-righteously over her $7 organic smoothie, I realized this was going to be my life for the foreseeable future. 6 months had passed since I started working at SuperValue, 6 months of double shifts, aching feet, and watching my paychecks disappear into the black hole of my family's expenses. Meanwhile, Lily hadn't worked a single day since graduation. One evening, I found her sprawled on the couch, scrolling through Instagram on her phone. I had just finished a 15-hour shift, and something in me snapped. "Lily, we need to talk," I said, dropping into Dad's old recliner. "I can't keep doing this alone. I'm exhausted. You need to get a job." Her lower lip started trembling immediately. "You don't understand, Sarah. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my life." Actually, she sat up suddenly animated. "Jessica and Madison just signed up for these amazing personal growth courses. They say it really helps you find your purpose." I stared at her in disbelief. "Personal growth courses? Are you kidding me? They're really transformative." Tears started rolling down her cheeks. "I need this right now. I'm going through so much." "Going through what, exactly?" I couldn't keep the edge out of my voice. "Jessica and Madison can take all the courses they want because their parents are loaded. Our situation is different. Dad is gone, Mom doesn't work, and I'm killing myself trying to keep this family afloat. We can't afford. Just then, Mom appeared in the doorway, right on cue. How dare you speak to your sister like that? Mom, she's still processing everything, I replied, exasperated. Processing? I echoed incredulously. It's been a year. Amber is a very sensitive soul, Mom insisted, moving to sit beside my sister. She needs time to heal. She's still so fragile from losing her father. We can't push her before she's ready. I looked between them, Mom stroking Amber's hair while my sister sniffled dramatically and felt a wave of exhaustion that went bone deep. This had become my life, working 2 jobs while they lived in a fantasy world where money magically appeared and adult responsibilities could be indefinitely postponed. The months crawled by. 1 year since Dad's death, 1 year of double shifts and constant exhaustion. The house was starting to show serious signs of wear. The roof leaked, the furnace made concerning noises, and the plumbing was increasingly unreliable. I managed to set up a separate savings account for house repairs. Every month, I put aside whatever I could, trying to build up enough for at least the essential fixes. Mom, I said one evening, pulling up my banking app, I'm going to give you access to this account, but it's only for groceries, okay? The rest needs to be saved for repairs. The house needs work, and we can't keep putting it off. She placed her hand over mine, her eyes wide and earnest. Of course, sweetheart. I understand completely. Don't worry about a thing. Despite Mom keeping her word about the grocery money, the house repairs fund wasn't growing fast enough. One evening, my friend Sarah called with what seemed like the perfect solution. Hannah, we're hiring at my startup, she said excitedly. It's perfect for Amber. The CEO is super into healthy living, he's actually vegetarian too. We need someone for the front desk, just basic admin stuff, no experience needed. I sat up straighter. Really? What would she need to do? Just answer phones, greet clients, handle some emails, make coffee, that kind of thing. The pay is decent, and the vibe is really young and casual. Think she'd be interested? It sounded almost too perfect. I'll talk to her tonight. To my complete shock, Amber actually seemed enthusiastic when I told her about it. A startup? That sounds so cool, she exclaimed. And the boss is vegetarian? That's like totally meant to be. The first week went better than I could have hoped. Amber came home each day bubbling with stories about the amazing office culture and how everyone was so authentic. But by the end of the second week, the tune had changed dramatically. Ugh, these clients are so demanding. Amber complained, slumping onto the couch. They expect me to be like super professional on the phone or whatever, and Dave is constantly on my case. Dave? I asked, surprised. The CEO. He had the nerve to tell me my phone manner wasn't appropriate. Like, excuse me for being genuine instead of fake professional. My stomach dropped. What exactly did he say? He said I can't say yeah and like when I'm talking to clients, she huffed. And apparently, I need to actually write down messages instead of just trying to remember them. It's so toxic. The situation deteriorated rapidly. The next day, I got a call from Sarah. Hannah, we need to talk about Amber, she said quietly. Dave's thinking of letting her go. She had a complete meltdown when he asked her to create a spreadsheet of incoming calls. My heart sank. Give me his number, Sarah. Please let me talk to him. The call with Dave lasted 45 minutes. I explained about our father's death, about Amber's sensitivity, about how she just needed time to adjust to workplace expectations. In the end, he agreed to give her another chance. The next month brought what seemed like a positive change. Amber was still at her job, and for once, she actually seemed content. The clients aren't so bad once you get used to them, she admitted one evening over dinner. And Dave said my phone manner has improved. I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Maybe this was the turning point we needed. Maybe Amber was finally growing up and learning responsibility. Then came payday. I was restocking shelves at SuperValue when Amber burst in, practically floating with excitement. Hannah. Hannah. I got my first real paycheck. That's great. I smiled, genuinely happy for her. Are you going to open a savings account? I can help you set up a budget if you want. Listening, she was already halfway out the door, clutching her paycheck like a golden ticket. Can't talk now. Meeting the girls at the mall. That evening, Amber came home laden with shopping bags, new clothes from expensive boutiques, designer shoes, and a brand new iPhone financed on a 24-month contract. Amber, I said carefully, did you spend your entire paycheck? Obviously, she rolled her eyes. I need to look professional at work. These are investment pieces. She pulled out a silk blouse that probably cost more than I made in 2 days. Besides, it's my money. I earned it. But what about helping with the bills? The house repairs? Oh my God, Sarah. Stop being such a buzzkill. I worked hard for this money. I deserve nice things. I swallowed my frustration. Maybe she just needed time to learn about financial responsibility. Maybe next month would be different. It wasn't. Another month passed, and I was in the middle of my shift at SuperValue when my phone rang. It was Sarah. Hannah, her voice was hesitant. I don't know how to tell you this, but Amber just quit. She got her paycheck and walked out. Dave is furious. My stomach dropped. She what? She didn't even give notice? Just took her check and left? I'm so sorry, Hannah. I feel terrible about recommending her. It's not your fault, I said automatically, my mind already racing. I need to go. I left work early, driving home with my hands clenched on the steering wheel. The house was eerily quiet when I arrived, no lights on, no response to my calls. Mom? Amber? Nothing. The closets were open, clothes missing, the suitcases from the attic gone. A sick feeling started building in my gut as I ran to my laptop. With trembling fingers, I logged into my bank account. The repair fund that I'd been building for months, the one Mom had promised only to use for groceries, the one that was supposed to fix our crumbling house, was cleaned out. Only $200 remained. My phone buzzed with a message from Amber. Don't freak out. Mom and I really needed a break. We're heading to Hawaii for 2 weeks. Don't worry about trying to find us, we'll be back eventually. Love you. Before I could even process that, another message came through. By the way, I know you're probably mad about the money, but try to understand, money comes and goes, but mental health is priceless. We really needed this vacation for our healing journey. You can always make more money, but you can't put a price on self-care. I stared at the messages, reading them over and over as the reality of the situation sank in. My mother and sister hadn't just stolen my money, they had taken advantage of every ounce of trust, hope, and love I had left. My first impulse was to call the police. I even had my phone in hand, finger hovering over the keypad. But then I thought about Mom's heart condition. Even though I knew she often exaggerated her symptoms for manipulation, there was always that seed of doubt. What if this time it was real? What if the stress of legal trouble actually triggered something serious? I couldn't risk having that on my conscience. Looking around the house, my eyes fell on the new refrigerator I bought last month, then the dishwasher, the washing machine, the large TV in the living room, all the furniture I'd carefully selected piece by piece, preparing for the renovation that would never happen now. Everything paid for with my own money from all those double shifts and missed weekends. I called my friend Rachel, trying to keep my voice steady. Hey, I said, remember when you mentioned your parents had that empty house they were trying to rent? Yeah, they still haven't found tenants. Why? I took a deep breath. Would they consider renting it to me? I need to get out of here. Rachel didn't ask for details, that's what I loved about her. Let me call them right now. Within an hour, she called back. They said yes. Relief washed over me, but it was quickly followed by a wave of anxiety. I had to pack up my life and leave the only home I had known, but I couldn't stay in a place where I felt so betrayed. I needed to create a new beginning, one where I could regain control over my life and finances. As I started to gather my things, I felt a mix of sadness and determination. I was leaving behind memories, but I was also stepping into a future where I could finally breathe. I wouldn't let my mother and sister's choices dictate my life any longer.